Let's cut to the chase. If a woman's ignoring you, it's likely because you're doing something wrong. Now, I know what you're thinking, but I've been nice to her. You've done all the right things, sent the good morning texts, been there when she needed support, and still, crickets. So what's actually going on? Why is she pulling away when things seemed fine just a minute ago? Truth is, when a woman starts to ignore you, it doesn't necessarily mean you've lost her or that she's playing hard to get. Sometimes it's a test, or even worse, a sign you're not being the man she thought you were. But here's the kicker. You don't have to sit there like a confused puppy, constantly chasing after her, hoping things will turn around. Instead, there are 5 proven actions you can take that completely shift the dynamics and pull her back into your orbit. In fact, the more you chase after her when she's distant, the more she'll pull away. If you want her to start seeing you as the strong, confident man she's attracted to, then it's time to flip the script. You're in control, but only if you act like it. The truth is, the way you respond when she's ignoring you can make or break your chances with her. The real secret? Not reacting the way most men do. Get ready, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to teach you exactly what to do when she's shutting you out, and why these steps work every single time. 1. Stop chasing her. The more you run after her, the further she'll go. Here's a simple rule of dating that you can't ignore. When she's ignoring you, chasing her only drives her further away. Yeah, I know, it sounds counterintuitive. You might think, if I try harder, show her more attention, send more texts, she'll finally notice me again. Wrong. In reality, the more you chase after her, the more it makes you seem desperate. It makes you look like you're depending on her validation to feel good about yourself. And let me tell you, no woman wants to be with a man who can't stand on his own. So stop sending those constant, "Hey, I'm thinking about you" texts or begging for a response. When you over-pursue, you're not giving her any space to miss you. Let me tell you something, women love a challenge. They crave emotional excitement and unpredictability, not someone who will bend over backward every time they give a little cold shoulder. If you're always at her beck and call, you're basically turning her into your emotional boss. And no one's attracted to a man who's completely at someone else's mercy. Take a step back and stop feeding into her game. This doesn't mean you should become cold, distant, or rude. It means you should give her the room to miss you and wonder about you. When she's used to having you around all the time and suddenly you pull back a bit, that's when she starts noticing the change. She'll start thinking, "Wait, where's he gone? I haven't heard from him in a while." Chasing her also signals that you have no real boundaries. You're putting her on a pedestal where she doesn't belong. Think of it like a game. When you're always the one chasing, it just becomes boring and predictable. If you're the one putting in all the effort, the power dynamic shifts. And let me tell you, women prefer a man who can't be controlled like that. Take your focus off her for a moment and invest that energy into your own life. Focus on your health, your career, your social life, anything that excites and challenges you. By improving your own life, you automatically improve how she sees you. She won't just see you as a guy who's always available. She'll see you as a guy who's busy living his best life, with or without her. 2. Focus on yourself, not her. How ignoring her actually draws her. Here's the ugly truth that men often overlook. When a woman is ignoring you, it's because she senses that you're too focused on her and not on your own life. The trick is simple. Stop making her your whole world. Imagine this. Every time you're reaching out, texting her all day, asking how she's doing, you're putting her in control of your emotional state. And when she feels that power, she's going to start pulling back. Why? Because a woman wants to feel that you have your own life, your own passions, your own goals. And when you're constantly chasing after her, she sees that you don't have anything better to do. Think about it. You don't want a woman to feel like she's the center of your universe. It makes you look insecure and frankly needy. Instead, what really gets her attention is a man who's doing his own thing. The more you focus on developing yourself, whether it's pushing your career forward, hanging with your friends, hitting the gym, or diving into a hobby you're passionate about, the more you'll draw her back in. It's about creating emotional space. Women want to feel like you have a life outside of your relationship with them, a life where you are fulfilled and happy on your own. When you're only sending her messages or talking to her all the time, she feels like you're putting your life on pause for her, and that is just unattractive. Here's a little-known secret. When you ignore her, or better yet, when you're not constantly available, she'll start to wonder why. She'll wonder if you're losing interest or if you've moved on. And that's when you begin to spark curiosity. Women absolutely love the chase, but it doesn't happen when you're chasing her. It happens when you let her wonder if she's the one who's missing out. By putting your attention back on yourself, you'll instantly become more attractive. When she sees that you have a life that doesn't revolve around her every need, she'll want to be a part of it. The less you're available, the more she will want to make time for you. Suddenly, you're not just a nice guy who's hanging around waiting for a text. You're a guy who has too much going on to beg for her attention. 3. Take the power back. Why you should make her miss you, not wait for her. Let's get real. If you're constantly waiting for her to make the first move or text you back, you're giving away all your power. And I know, it's tough. You feel that urgency to get a response. It feels like if you just keep putting in effort, she'll realize you're the one. But here's something every guy needs to learn. Waiting for her to make decisions about you is the worst move. When you make her miss you, you're shifting the power dynamic in your favor. But making her miss you doesn't mean playing games or being manipulative. It means actually living your life in a way that makes you scarce, in a way that shows her you're a catch, someone worth pursuing, not just someone she can count on being around whenever she feels like it. You see, when you make yourself too available, you send the message that you're just waiting for her to take the lead. She doesn't need to chase after someone who's always around. But when you take a step back, stop jumping every time she gives a little signal. You're setting yourself up as someone who's confident and self-sufficient. You take control of the situation rather than sitting around hoping she'll decide you're worth her time. The real power comes from knowing your worth and realizing that you don't need her approval. You know what you bring to the table, and because of that, you're not willing to settle. When you stop waiting for her to give you the green light, it forces her to reevaluate. You stop becoming her backup plan and start becoming someone she doesn't want to lose. Making her miss you isn't about disappearing completely or pretending you don't care. It's about creating that emotional space so she can reflect on your value. It's about being present when you want to be and stepping back when you need to be. That's power. If you're constantly in her face, there's no room for her to reflect on what she's missing out on. You take away her chance to appreciate the connection. When you create that balance, it changes the way she sees you. You've taken the lead, regained control, and turned the tables. She can either choose to invest in you because you're not just sitting around waiting, or she'll find out what it feels like to miss out on a man who knows his worth. Or 4, show her you're unavailable. When you stop being always available, she becomes curious again. Let's face it, a lot of men are making the same mistake here, and it's honestly not hard to see why. You think you're being a good guy by always being there for her, texting back right away, clearing your schedule to see her whenever she wants, and bending over backward to make her happy. But here's the reality check. Being too available is one of the quickest ways to lose her respect and attention. It's simple. When a woman sees that you're always around and always at her disposal, she loses that spark of interest. You're just there when she needs you, and that's it. It's easy to take someone for granted when they're predictable and always within arm's reach. The issue? She starts to see you as a safety net, a guy she knows will be there no matter what. And trust me, that's not attractive. Here's the wake-up call. Your availability actually makes you less valuable. You're not respecting your time. When you make yourself constantly accessible, you're not leaving room for her to appreciate what you offer, and that's your fault. You're letting her know you don't have a life of your own. And let's be real, no one finds that intriguing. It shows weakness, not strength. So stop being so available. I get it. It feels like the right thing to do to win her back, but all you're doing is pushing her further away. Instead, become a man with a busy life. Create that emotional distance. When you stop giving her everything you have and start prioritizing your own life, it naturally makes her curious. She wonders, what's he up to? Why isn't he texting me back so quickly? And that curiosity is what will draw her in again. But this isn't just about ignoring her or playing hard to get for the sake of it. It's about genuinely creating boundaries around your time. Be proactive about your commitments, your career, your friends, your interests. When she sees that you've got your own thing going on, she'll start to see you as a man who's in control of his life and someone who's worth investing in. So, if you've been the guy texting constantly, always showing up when she calls, and dropping everything for her, take a step back. Wake up and realize that what you're doing isn't getting you closer to what you want. It's time to become that man who's slightly out of reach and always respected for it. 5. Get busy, get attractive. how being the man who has a life is the best way to get her attention. Here's the thing that men often don't realize. Your worth isn't defined by how much attention you give her. It's defined by how much you have going on in your own life. When you're constantly available, texting her all the time, or making her the center of your universe, you're essentially telling her that your life revolves around her. That is not attractive. What actually gets her attention is a man who is busy, a man who has goals, a career, passions, and interests outside of her, a man who is living life on his own terms. So if you're sitting there waiting for her to message you or trying to stay on her radar, you're missing the bigger picture. The most attractive thing you can do for both yourself and your relationship is to get busy, not in a fake way, but by being genuinely engaged in your own life. Look, a lot of men fall into the trap of thinking that being available and attentive will win a woman over. But you're not attracting her when you sit around with nothing to do but wait for her call. You're just sending the message that you don't have a life without her. And I'm going to say it, this is a huge mistake. Being busy means you're mentally and physically engaged in things that you care about. Whether it's work, a hobby, or hanging out with friends, you show that you have purpose and direction. And the more direction you have, the more she's going to find you appealing. When she sees you out there living life, hitting your goals, and not just sitting around waiting for her attention, it makes her realize how much she has to lose if she lets you slip away. Now here's the key takeaway. Don't just pretend to be busy for the sake of getting her attention. Be genuinely busy. Put in time and effort into building your life. This is how you get attractive, not by faking it. When she sees that your life doesn't depend on her, she'll start respecting you more, and inevitably, she'll become more attracted to you. At the end of the day, getting busy isn't about neglecting her. It's about making sure that you're always doing something to improve yourself, your situation, and your happiness. When you live with purpose, you stop chasing attention, and you attract respect and admiration naturally. Here's the truth no one wants to hear. If you're always running after a woman, you're never going to get the respect or attraction you think you deserve. It doesn't matter how nice you are, how many gifts you send, or how often you text. Women aren't looking for someone to chase them. They want a man who's chasing something bigger than them. So take the power back and focus on yourself. If you've been in this situation, I want to hear from you. Comment your experiences below. I'll personally reach out and create a real connection.